Let's go ahead and get right over to meteorologist Thomas Patrick, because Thomas, tell us exactly how hot is it going to get around here?
It's going to be a hot summer day. That is. Yeah, exactly. That is for sure. Once again, in the upper 90s, getting close to that 100-degree mark, but there might be a little bit more cloud cover to help take the edge off at times. We'll see how that comes into play over the next 24 hours here, but it is very mild to kick off the day. For Spokane, that's our low temperature, 68 degrees. It often doesn't get that mild for low temperatures for the region, so that is going to be very noticeable as you step outside this morning. And that's what it's like for most of Washington, where there's still 70s on the Palouse. It's 71 in Pullman, 71 in Lewiston, 77 the warm spot in Pomeroy. These are about the low temperatures that we're seeing this morning. Now, North Idaho, you're doing a little bit better, a little bit cooler, a little bit more comfortable first thing this morning, including 62 in Coeur d'Alene. There are still heat advisories for today, though excessive heat warnings for central Washington downgraded to heat advisories because after a day in the hundreds yesterday, it's probably actually just upper 90s today. So a little bit of the edge getting taken off. Part of that is because of some cloud cover that is streaming overhead. A lot of moisture in the upper layers of the atmosphere, but we'll be tracking if some of that will result in rainfall today, but certainly a better chance for rain and storms come tomorrow. We're tracking that for your forecast in just a couple minutes.
Now, like Thomas mentioned, today is expected to be one of the hottest days of the week.
And some outdoor events are canceling their events out of an abundance of caution. So Riverfront Seats is canceled today, no longer happening. And this is actually the second time this summer that the event has been canceled because of the heat. Also, the Garland Summer Market is canceled today. And then looking ahead, tomorrow, the Kendall Yards Night Market also announcing they are closed as well.
So if you're going to be outside, make sure to listen to your body and know the symptoms of heat illnesses. Heat cramps can be the first sign that something is wrong. So if you're feeling things like muscle pain or muscle tightness, that can then progress to heat exhaustion with heavy sweating and fatigue. But things are even more serious if you stop sweating altogether. That's a sign of heat stroke, which can lead to confusion and even seizures. If you experience any of these symptoms, call 911 right away and try and stay in a cool place until help can arrive. Now, if you or someone you know is in the sun and you start to feel sick, try and get to shade immediately. Also, apply a cool wet cloth to your head, neck, armpit, and upper leg area. Those are actually the areas where we lose 70% of our body heat. And of course, again, call 911 right away.
And it is so important to not forget about your pets. They can feel the effects of heat just as bad as humans can. So you want to make sure that they stay hydrated as well. Never leave them inside a closed vehicle, and keep your pets on the grass if you're out for a walk. Concrete and blacktop can burn their paws. So get this, 77 degrees in the air can make it as hot as 125 degrees on the pavement. So you can press your hand firmly against the pavement for 7 seconds to get a good indication of what your pet feels walking around. So if you would like a link to all of the cooling centers across the city and a look at our weather forecast, you can text the word heat to the number 509-448-2000.
Well, the Hayden City Council is expected to discuss a police ballot measure during tonight's meeting. The measure would be a levy override to pay for additional police presence throughout the city. Now, after a meeting last month, a task force decided that they want the city to give more funding for deputies in Hayden, maintain the school resource officer program, and keep officer safety a high priority. That council meeting starts at 5 p.m. tonight. And a traffic alert for you this morning. Drivers on I-90 and Highway 195 should be aware of some bridge deck construction projects starting this week. WashDOT crews are rehabilitating bridge decks by patching potholes and removing and replacing concrete in certain sections. The work aims to extend the life of the bridges and create a smoother ride. Now, some locations include Thor Street over I-90 and US 195 over I-90 as well. Now, for a full list of the bridges impacted by this project, you can head to our website, KREM.com. Well, hundreds of WSU students are in Pullman scrambling to find housing after their apartment complex said that the building won't be ready until October. Now, with signed leases in hand, these students say they don't know what to do. So KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez joins us now from the newsroom. Now, Nicole, what can you tell us about the situation and what are students there planning on doing?
So these students are obviously upset, but take a look here. This is Aspen Heights Apartments. It's a new complex close to WSU's campus. You can see really nice apartments, so it makes sense why hundreds of students were excited to move in the coming weeks. But now the students are trying to figure out where to live just weeks before school starts. The complex told future residents the delays are because of construction. Damian Sarazola was supposed to move in next Saturday. Now the complex says his unit will not be ready until October.
Highly suspect. I'm like, okay, if it's going to be 2 months out, then it's probably some problems they've known for a while, and just apparently the property didn't communicate with the leasing office either, because they had just found out that Thursday.
So Damian says on top of the delay, he's already getting billed for rent and even parking. In the email the complex sent students, they said they will be offering tenants 2 options. One, a $1,000 account credit for tenants to find other living arrangements on their own until the units are ready. Or the complex also partnered with another student housing spot and reserved bed spaces for each student there. If they choose that option, each tenant will stay there and get a $300 credit. We also reached out to Aspen Heights Apartments several times yesterday and did not hear back. In the newsroom, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
It's 6:07. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. The Spokane Valley Fire Department says firefighter Dan Patterson died from a cardiac arrest last month. The fire department announced the procession route, which you can see here on your screen. The procession will start tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. at the Spokane Valley Fire Station 2. Out of respect for the family's wishes, though, they do ask that only family, the Spokane Valley Fire Department, and other emergency responders attend the funeral. Spokane County is launching a new online tool to help taxpayers estimate their property tax. The tool will give residents an estimate of their taxes based solely on property value. So this means that any special levies are not included in the estimate. A link to the tax estimator tool is on the Spokane County Assessor's website. And we're learning new details in the murder in Spirit Lake. Bonner County Sheriffs arrested 64-year-old Michael Schofield for murdering his friend. Court documents obtained by the Coeur d'Alene Press releasing new disturbing details. Schofield's friend bet he could stab Schofield quicker than Schofield could shoot him. That's when Schofield then stood up and shot his friend. A hearing is set for August 17th. And that's a look at your morning rush.
Firefighters are on the scene of a 15-acre wildfire burning near the Lion Creek drainage at Priest Lake.
And it's being called the Lion Roar Fire. The Idaho Department of Lands says that they do have 4 fire engines on scene with a 20 crew and multiple helicopters. Currently, there are no evacuations in place. For updates, you can check our website, krem.com.
And in Idaho, the human-caused moose fire has burned more than 71,000 acres. As of last night, they were able to get it up to 18% contained. The U.S. Forest Service says that these cooler temperatures help them strengthen their containment lines. But crews do expect the warm and dry weather pattern to increase fire behavior. Now, of course, some wildfires are just unavoidable.
And while you can't prevent all wildfires, there are ways that you can protect your home from them. Fire officials say consistent property assessments can save a home from a fire. Assessments include a walk around the property with a fire official and recommendations on how to keep your home safe.
It's an ongoing process. It's year after year. There's some maintenance to it, but it can ultimately save your home.
Homeowners can also get an assessment through the Washington Department of Natural Resources Wildfire Ready Neighbors program.
Well, today is actually a very special day in the history of wildfire prevention, as it marks the birthday of beloved mascot Smokey the Bear. Smokey the Bear was created on this day in 1944 when the Forest Service created the fictional bear as a symbol of fire prevention. It was a few years later that Smokey actually said his now signature slogan, "Only you can prevent wildfires."